Continuing the lesson, we are going to now go to the next question. So in this question, you have 2 job offers. So hopefully someday you have a job, and maybe if you're lucky, you even have 2 job offers and you have to decide which one is best. So looking at the information we're given, it says that job A pays $80 a week plus $5 for every sale that you make. So let's stop and look at job A for a second. So if I take 1 week, how much money are you going to make at that job in 1 week? Well, you know you're going to make $80 no matter what. But you also get $5 every time you make a sale. So if during that week you make 1 sale, you would get 5 times 1. So that'd be $85. If you made 2 sales, you would get 5 times 2. So that'd be $10 plus $80. That'd be $90. And so on. So what's happening is the 5 is going to be your rate of change. And so that's going to be your slope. And so, actually I should be pointing at that. That's going to be our x. So what's going to happen is the equation to represent job A, actually we have a place down here for it, is going to be how much you make, y, the total amount of money you make in 1 week. That's going to be represented by 5 times how many sales you make, plus don't forget about the $80. And so you look at what's changing, and so what's changing is how many sales you make in 1 week. And so when you go to decide, you'd say, well, if I'm going to make 20 sales, then I would do 5 times 20, not 20 times 80. I'm not going to do 80 times 20 because that would mean I'm working for 20 weeks, so that's not the same thing. Okay, then looking at job B, it pays differently. It pays $120 per week, but it does not pay you for any sales. So in job B, does it matter how many sales you make? The answer is no. You can make 1 sale or you can make 100 sales. You're going to make $120 a week. So that's not going to change. So how much money you make is not going to be $120 plus anything. It's just going to be $120. And so job B is just going to be y equals 120. And so in 1 week, you're going to make $120 at job B. Now, I want you to stop and think about which job is better. Does it depend on anything? Do you think you could do a job where you had to sell things? Some people can and some people can't. And some people can make a living selling things and some people couldn't. So when you go to graph your equation, along the x-axis, that's going to be what's changing, and that's going to be the number of sales that you make. So there's space there if you make 0 sales or 1 sale or 2 sales up to 12 sales, so we can see how each job will reflect on that. And what's on the y-axis? Okay, I've got these bigger numbers, and that's going to be how much money you're going to make. And that's in 1 week. Okay, so let's graph the 2 equations and let's talk about the differences there. So if I graph job A, I'm going to start at $80. So $80, that's if I make no sales. But then if I make 1 sale, it's going to go up by $5. And if I make 2 sales, it's going to go up by $10. And if I make 3 sales, it's going to go up by another $5. Okay, so it's going to be going up like this. That's the pattern. Now you might say, well, I thought the slope was 5, so wouldn't I go up 5 and then over 1? Well, you've got to look at the scale. So 1 box here is 10, so we don't want to go up 5 boxes. So the job A is going to be like this. Okay, so let's graph job B. So job B, if you make 0 sales, how much money do you make? If you make 2 sales, 3 sales, 4 sales, 5 sales, it doesn't matter. You are going to make $120. Okay, now looking at that, where do you make more money? So if I don't do very well at selling things, I would make more money if I took job B. But if I'm good at selling things and if I sell things a lot, I'm not going to make as much money down there. So if I can sell things but not a lot of things, I would want to take job B because I would make more money. But at some point, job A becomes better. Where does job A become better than job B? So if you look, this is where they're the same. If you make 8 sales, then there's no difference in the jobs. But if you make less than 8 sales, then job B would be better. But if you make more than 8 sales, then job A is better because you get paid for every time that you make a sale. And so there's not just one answer to this question. It kind of depends. And so for me, I would say I would rather have job B because I don't think I could sell things. And I don't like to ask people to buy something. So I would rather take job B where I would get paid the same amount even if I just tried and didn't do very good selling things. Now, if you're really good at selling things and you like to sell things to people, then you would probably want to take job A because you would make much more money that way. So this is kind of an individually answered question. So it says, which job would you choose and why? You need to say, I would pick job A because, and then explain why. Or I would pick job B and this is why. So go ahead and pause the video and write down why you would choose the job you would choose. Okay, let's look at the next one. Aiden is looking at 2 cell phone plans. So you have to decide which plan is the better plan. Now, all plans don't always work like this, so this is just kind of a simplified version of it. But plan A, so that's the first plan that Aiden's looking at, is $40 a month plus $5 per gigabyte of data. Okay, so let's think about what's happening in 1 month. So we're talking about in just 1 month. What is Aiden going to pay if he's on plan A? Well, he's going to pay $40 no matter what. Plus, he's going to pay $5 for every gigabyte. So if he's using 1 gigabyte of data, he's going to pay $5 more. If he's doing 2 gigabytes of data, he'll do 5 times 2. And so that's where my variable is going to come in because that's going to be what's changing. So plan A's equation, how much does he pay in 1 month? Y is equal to 5 times X, that's what he's going to pay for data, plus the $40 fee. And then you can graph that line. You're going to start at 40, so if he uses no data, he still has to pay $40 for the phone. If he uses 1 gigabyte of data, it's going to go up $5. 2 gigabytes will go up $10. And so this actually looks the same as the previous question with the jobs. So it's going to go like that. And so that's Aiden's plan, plan A. Okay, let's look at another plan, plan B. It says plan B is $20 a month. So right off you're thinking, oh, that's good because you're not going to pay as much money. But you have to pay more for data, $10 for 1 gigabyte of data. So how does that change our equation? So if I come back up here, that's going to change my equation by saying $20 plus how much per gigabyte? 10. So my plan B is going to be Y equals $20 no matter what. Actually, I'm going to write the slope first. So $10 per gigabyte of data plus the 20 that you pay no matter what. So let's graph that equation. So we're going to start at 20. And if you use 1 gigabyte, you're going to go up $10. Another gigabyte, $10. Another one, $10. Another one, $10. And so it's going to go up like this. So this makes it easier to compare the 2 plans, and you can decide which one do we want to do. So this one's going to be how many gigabytes he's doing, and this is the monthly bill. Okay, so I'm going to put bill per month. And so this plan A versus plan B. So if you look at that, can you see when you would rather have plan A? Would you rather have plan A if you use a lot of data or if you use a little bit of data? Okay, remember that these numbers over here on the left, that's how much money you're paying. So you want to pay as little as possible. So if you look at, if I don't use very much data, so if I'm using just a few gigabytes of data, which one is less money? The green one is less money. If I use a lot of data, which one is less money? Then the red one is more money, or less money. So that's going to go into your plan. So if you're the kind of person that uses a cell phone just to, talk to people or text people and you use Wi-Fi a lot, you aren't going to use a lot of data, then you would probably want to go with plan B. But if you're going to use a lot of data, if you're traveling a lot, or if you're not using Wi-Fi very much, you're going to use a lot more data, so you'd want to go with plan A. And so that's going to go into how you answer question number 13. What would you choose? Not what would I choose, what would you choose? And so you know how you would use a cell phone. So which one would you choose? And then tell me why. Question 12 says, when would you pay the same amount? So at what point does it not matter which plan you have? It doesn't matter right here. Right there, if you're using 4 gigabytes of data, it doesn't matter which plan you use because you're paying $60 either way. And so that's just kind of where the system meets up, where the 2 equations meet up. That's what that means. You're paying the same either way. But then it kind of switches which one's better at that point. So pause the video, answer question number 13, and remember, answer it the way you would do it and explain why. Okay, the next few questions, we're just going to be graphing some systems, and so write down the equations and then pause the video and go and graph them. The first couple are just linear equations, and so then you can see if you did it right. Okay, the first one, number 14, I graphed the first y equals negative 1/2 x in red. So y-intercept was 0 and slope is negative 1/2. And then the second equation in green, I had to solve that one for y. So I divided everything by 2. And so remember that you have to divide everything by 2. So that's where I got the negative 1/2 right there. I divided the negative 1 by 2. And so it has the same slope, but it's moved up 4 because it says go start at 4 instead of start at 0. And so because those are parallel lines, they're never going to intersect. And so I'm going to write no solution. Okay, for number 15, the first equation y equals x, that just means y equals, whoops, I did it in red, y equals 1x, and so that means my y-intercept is 0, my slope is 1, so up 1 over 1, and that's where I got the red line. The second equation that I did in green, it says x equals 4, so it's going to go through the x-axis at 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and I just do a vertical line. And so where do they meet? They meet right there, and so that ordered pair is 4, 4. Okay, remember the x and then the y. That's the solution. Okay, on number 16, I'm going to have to take that first equation and I need to solve it for y. So pause the video, solve it for y, and then graph both equations. Okay, so I solved it for y, the first equation, y equals 3x minus 4. So I'm going to start at negative 4, up 3 and over 1. And then the second equation is y equals 3x minus 4, so it's the same equation. So when I go and graph that, I'm going to graph exactly the same line. So where do they intersect? They intersect everywhere on that line, but it's not all real numbers because they don't intersect here and they don't intersect here or here. So we're not going to say all real numbers. We're going to say infinite number of solutions. Okay, so that's what you'll write for your solution if that's the case. Okay, number 17, they're both ready to graph. So when I graph them, the first one, y equals negative 2, that's a horizontal line. It goes through the y-axis at negative 2, and so that's where I got the red line. The second one, the y-intercept is at negative 4, and so I started there, and then I went up 2 and over 3, and that's where I got the green line. Now, just because I've graphed them, I'm not finished yet. I need to say what the solution is, and the solution is where do they intersect. So they intersect right there. So that ordered pair, you always go x and then y. So you're going to go 1, 2, 3. So the ordered pair is 3, and then I go down 2, so negative 2. You cannot mix that up. You cannot say down 2 and over 3. This is not slope when you're naming an ordered pair. You must say x and then y. Okay, the last two questions, same thing. You're going to graph these lines and find the solution. You'll notice that there's a couple of equations right there and right there that you're going to have to solve for y. So go ahead and pause the video and make sure you've got everything written down, and then graph the equations and write the solution as an ordered pair. Okay, my first equation, y equals negative x minus 3, so that's how I graph that one. And the second equation, y equals 1/2 x plus 3, so that's got a positive slope. And so I'm looking for where do they intersect? They intersect right there. So again, let's name the ordered pair. I have to do x first and then y. So I'm going to go x, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4. And then I go up 1. So it's negative 4, positive 1. So if you wrote that the other way around, that's wrong. You have to write it in that order. Remember that when you name an ordered pair, that's not the same thing as slope. And that's what confuses some people as they get that mixed up and they write the ordered pair in the wrong order. Okay, and in the last question, y equals 3/2 x. That one's ready to graph. So I'm going to graph that. I'm going to start at 0 and I'm going to go up 3 and over 2. I can go down 3 and backwards 2 as well. And so that's that line. The other line I'm going to have to add 2 to both sides. So I'm going to get y is equal to 5/2 x plus 2. And so I'm going to start at 2, and the slope is positive 5 over 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 2. I can also go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, backwards 2. And so I need to get to a place where I can see where they intersect, because otherwise it's not really that helpful, to graph them. And so as far as where they intersect, it's going to be right there. So name the ordered pair. So starting x, I'm going to go negative 1, negative 2. and then -1, -2, -3. And that's the solution.